What's up guys? Welcome to AnimeKouhai. If you'd like to help me out, please hit the like button and subscribe to my channel.
Well then, I shall take my leave,
he declared, swiftly exiting the room. He reached home just as his wife was about to depart. He had made it in the nick of time, and fully comprehending the warnings from Velgrind and Testarossa, he heeded their advice. It spared him the anguish of a painful divorce. Since that moment, Mithra remained perpetually grateful to both of them. He wholeheartedly supported the new emperor in every endeavor, becoming one of the empire's most steadfast advocates. And so, all three major noble factions fell under the sway of the new emperor, Masayuki. Though they had anticipated it would take years to stabilize the new government, they accomplished it surprisingly quickly, within a few short months. The night after I forged a friendship with Sir Mithra.
So Lady Testarossa was right all along, huh?
Pretty much. Luck played a part, but having the Demon Lord Rimmeru's support and Lady Velgrind's presence made a significant impact.
I sat in a restaurant in the Empire, enjoying a celebratory drink with Minutes. Our concerns regarding the nobility had mostly been resolved, leaving only the aggressors as a lingering issue. We had deployed spies throughout the Empire to keep an eye on any suspicious activities. I trusted they would alert me if they unearthed anything, and we had also stationed the reorganized Imperial Knights in our provincial towns. While we couldn't afford to drop our guard completely, we could finally breathe a bit easier. As a result, I intended to let loose and enjoy the drinks tonight. Minutes and I had a great time, reminiscing about our shared experiences and discussing our aspirations for the Empire's future. Looking back, I never imagined we would become such close friends. He had always been a reliable worker, but I never foresaw the depth of our personal bond. Now, he's not just a valued comrade, but a trusted friend aiding me in supporting Emperor Masayuki. We continued our conversation well into the evening, reaching a delightful level of intoxication when Minutes broached a new topic with me.
You know, what does it feel like to have that kind of power? The power to defeat anyone?
I took a moment to contemplate the question.
Well, honestly, it's a bit empty. It's like I don't have any more goals to strive for.
In that case, you probably won't need this anymore,
Minutes said, handing me an envelope. It looked thick, like it contained several documents.
What's this?
Don't open it here,
he advised softly, finishing his drink. He stood up, placing his glass on the table.
Are you leaving already?
Yeah, that envelope holds a report about you. I did some digging a few years ago, just in case. But now, you can have it. I don't need it anymore. There were a few things that bothered me, so I'm doing some more investigation. It caught me off guard though, so maybe it's best if you don't know. If you're not interested in your own past, feel free to burn it without reading.
Without providing any further explanation, Minutes waved goodbye and left, never looking back or responding to my questions. Now, I was alone and didn't feel like drinking anymore. Minutes' words lingered in my mind. Those documents definitely had something to do with me, maybe a weakness or vulnerability. I had no family, and while I won't deny my involvement in some shady dealings in the past, I never did anything that would land me in prison. Minutes must have known that, I guess. The only possibility I could think of was that it had to do with my ex-wife. My past and all. And now that I think about it, I never did get my revenge. At this point, I could easily crush anyone I wanted, regardless of their status. But my foolish pride, that belief of, I can do it whenever I want, made me give up on it completely.
Yeah, it's probably a good idea to finally confront my past,
I muttered as I left the restaurant.
It'll help me move forward.
So I returned to my office, opened Minutes' envelope, and went through its contents.
There's no way.
I couldn't believe what I was seeing. The name, Earl Balduff, jogged my memory, reminding me of the forgotten target of my revenge. But that was insignificant compared to what I discovered next. Earl Balduff had risen to power, leading a small group of rural nobles that had slipped under my radar. The roster included my ex-wife's barony and consisted entirely of minor nobles like barons and viscounts. If they had been a larger faction, I would have been aware of them, but their small size had allowed them to remain hidden. I couldn't ignore this revelation.
It seems these nobles who joined the faction had their family fortunes compromised,
I murmured, quickly delving into the implications. These families had been guided by honorable and respectable men in the previous generation. They had never dabbled in criminal activities and governed their lands with integrity. That's precisely why they had been so easily manipulated.
It is believed that Earl Balduff coerced a merchant associated with him into accumulating substantial debts, granting him control.
Thoughts raced through my mind. If this was true, Earl Balduff was beyond forgiveness. But even before that,
Mamiya.
Her name escaped my lips involuntarily. What if Mamiya had truly loved me all along? With that notion firmly planted, I couldn't sit still any longer. I hurried toward the door.
Sir, are you leaving at this late hour?
An urgent matter has arisen. Gather my personal guard at the airship dock and arrange for an agent from the Intelligence Bureau to meet me.
Right away, sir.
My household's head butler was highly competent. With one glance, he grasped the gravity of the situation. Without further ado, he promptly carried out my instructions. By sunrise, I had gathered compelling evidence. Minutes' report had been accurate, there was no denying the truth. However, one person stood before me, weeping and refusing to accept reality.
It's over for you,
I said firmly.
No way! Who do you think I am? I'm Balduff, one of the 8 wise rulers, known far and wide. On what basis are you trying to arrest me?
Even in this dire situation, the clueless man refused to acknowledge his crimes. But Balduff had his reasons for trying to squirm out of this mess. You see, the nobility enjoyed legal immunity in the empire, which meant they couldn't be apprehended without a warrant issued by the imperial palace. However, the Knights of the Imperial Guardians and certain members of our Information Bureau had the authority to issue such warrants.
Earl Balduff, your warrant has been properly validated. We have testimonies from the victims. Understand that there's no room for a negotiation.
The agent who accompanied me had the full power to arrest him, naturally. Taking down a high-ranking noble like Balduff was no small task, but we were well prepared. Personally, I would have liked to execute him, but that was beyond my jurisdiction, so I held back. If it were up to me, I'd dispatch him quickly and painlessly, but I had no intention of showing mercy to this man.
Quit with this nonsense. Who gives you the right to
Silence. Balduff, have you forgotten my face?
I stepped closer to Balduff, making sure he could see my eye patch clearly.
What? Wait! Are you Calgurio?
Oh, so you recognize me?
Of course! Your exploits are famous throughout the Empire! I heard you suffered defeat at the hands of those filthy creatures, but I'm sure you'll redeem yourself soon enough.
He had the wrong idea entirely. If Lady Testarossa had heard his words just now, his fate would have been even worse. I could tell him that, but it was better to keep quiet. If I provoked him further, I might get dragged into something I didn't want to be a part of.
I'm amazed by your lack of remorse. While I was cast out of my baronial family, you laughed without a care, didn't you?
That's a misunderstanding.
I hadn't explained anything yet, but his statement amounted to an admission of guilt.
This is ridiculous.
I stated firmly, my expression unwavering.
The Empire's Supreme Court will determine your fate. Get ready for it. Their inquisitors aren't as forgiving as I am.
Balduff's face turned pale.
Wait, hold on. Sir Calgurio, I'm really sorry. I'm ready to confess.
Take him into custody.
Following my orders, the knights forcefully escorted Balduff away. His lack of seriousness was maddening. The Imperial Supreme Court wasn't interested in meticulously examining the specifics of his crimes. Its purpose was to crush political opponents and strip them of their rights. Confessions held no weight. The court's inquisitors aimed to break suspects' spirits and make them obedient.
Enjoy your suffering.
I murmured softly, watching him vanish into the distance.
And taste the anguish of your victims, including me.
After bidding farewell to the knights and their airship, I hopped on my personal autobike and embarked on a journey to a small, secluded town. As I rode, familiar sights came into view. The mansion beyond the hill remained unchanged, just as I remembered. Once grand in my eyes, it now appeared rather modest, less than half the size of my capital manor. Nevertheless, this place held great significance to me.
Brings back memories. It's hardly changed at all.
Unconsciously, I whispered these words. Perhaps I was feeling nervous. After all, I was about to confront the woman who had left me, or so I had thought. I now understood it was a misunderstanding on my part. All I needed was courage. It was a little past noon, and I recalled how my ex-wife used to relax in the garden around this time. Steeling myself as much as I could, I pressed the doorbell.
Yes, who's there?
The voice sounded familiar, belonging to the assistant head butler of the mansion, a man older than me by a decade.
It's me, Calgurio. I didn't plan on returning, but I have important matters to discuss. Could you please inform Mamiya, Ms. Heath, that I'm here?
I heard a slight gasp from the other side of the door. There was a brief pause, then he replied, all right, leading me to a reception room where I would await Mamiya. Now, all I had to do was open my heart to her before that man returned. When I said, that man, I meant Baron Nest Heath, the one who had banished me and taken control of the Heath family. He had gone off, summoned to the estate of his friend, Viscount Jacques, which meant he should be on his way to the neighboring town right now. I knew all about it because I had orchestrated the whole thing. Yesterday evening, I sent the knights to apprehend Balduff's accomplices, specifically instructing them to leave Jacques alone for the time being, on purpose, of course. We were already aware that Jacques held a higher rank than Nest, so once he got wind of Balduff's arrest, he would undoubtedly reach out to Nest. And just as I had anticipated, Nest was in motion now. It would take half a day on the fastest horse for a round trip between this town and the next. Since he had set off early in the morning, it was unlikely he would return before nightfall. I needed to settle everything before then.
Sorry for keeping you waiting, Sir Calgurio. I guess I should say long time no see, right?
Hearing Mamiya's voice after all this time made my heart race.
No need for formalities between us. How have you been?
Mamiya looked noticeably thinner. She had makeup on, but she made no effort to hide the strands of gray making their appearance in her hair. It was evident to me that she couldn't afford to enhance her looks, and that revealed a few things. This visit was unexpected, I knew, but a nobleman's wife would usually pay more attention to her appearance. Of course, she would always be my Mamiya, regardless of how she looked, but Minutes' report mentioned Nest's extravagant spending, and what I saw now indicated that he didn't value her very much. It angered me deeply.
Oh, I don't really deserve the privilege of dropping your formal title, Sir Calgurio. I'm just relieved to see you doing well.
Her attitude toward me remained guarded. She seemed anxious, unsure of why I was here.
Can I ask why you've come today? Are you finally going to have me executed?
I saw that one coming.
What are you talking about?
My husband left hurriedly this morning. I'm sure he's up to no good. You must have some evidence against him, don't you? And I'm the woman who betrayed you. I can't think of any reason why you would show me any mercy.
Her eyes looked exhausted, devoid of hope. We had been apart for 20 years, and both Mamiya and I had experienced our fair share of hardships during that time.
That's it for this video, guys. Thank you for always watching my videos and supporting my channel. A big thanks to the AnimeKouhai patrons who made this video possible. Jason Martin, Zach Rawson, Jerry Sladek, Ray Perez, Adrienne, Kumo, Sankath Chelu, T. Bush, John L., Edgar Fuentes, Ara Dare, Tony, Edmund W. Edwards. Thank you so much for helping out. I'll see you guys in the next video.